What's up, Marvel Snappers, and welcome to another deck tech video. Today we're looking at a Devil Dinosaur deck, a card I'm sure you're all familiar with. I've been seeing this particular build all over the ladder, and it's too strong to ignore, and I wanted to try it out for myself. I believe this deck was either popularized or created by another YouTuber by the name of Regis Kilbin, who's a fantastic Hearthstone YouTuber who also has been making Marvel Snap content. So the idea behind this deck is while you run Devil Dinosaur and some cards that synergize with the Devil Dinosaur, such as Moon Girl to duplicate your hand, Sentinel to add a copy to your hand to keep your hand size up and curve out your plays, and Agent 13, which is a new addition from Pool 2, who for 1 energy adds a random card to your hand from the entire card collection, and that random card can be very powerful, or at minimum, it maintains a good hand size for your Devil Dinosaur. But in combination with these cards, we're actually running the Destroy package, which got really fleshed out in Pool 2. The first of these cards is Bucky Barnes, who when destroyed, creates a Winter Soldier in its place. At first, it's only 1 power for 2 energy, which is not very impressive, but when destroyed, it goes up to 6 power, which is very strong. And another card that was introduced in Pool 2 is Sabretooth, who when destroyed, adds itself back to your hand, but costs 0. And so this lets you change up where this power is invested, potentially on the final turn, and also synergizes with our Moon Girl, who can duplicate this so you actually have 8 power for 0 energy to commit to the board at some point. Our destroy effects are Carnage, who on reveal destroys the other cards at the location, gaining +2 for each. It's a great way to destroy the Bucky Barnes or our Nova, and can also destroy the Agent 13, absorbing the 2 power from that card, and protecting it from a potential Killmonger, which is a card we are also running. Killmonger destroys all 1-cost cards, which has some synergy with our own deck, but can also disrupt the opponent by destroying Sunspots or other pesky 1-cost cards. And the synergy within our own deck is Nova, who when destroyed gives all cards you control +1 power. This can be a great way to buff up cards in other locations and push you up over the opponent. And lastly, we're playing Deathlock, who for 3 energy has a good 5 power, and if you play this on turn 3 into a location that you played Bucky Barnes to on turn 2, you end up with 11 power in that location on the 3rd turn, which is crazy strong. Rounding out the deck, we have Angela, who's just a great 2-cost card, and works well with potentially our duplicated Sabretooths, as that can buff her up for very little energy investment. And we also have Bishop, who gets +1 power for each card you play. This isn't going to be too much power, but it's a variable amount of power and can make things difficult for the opponent. It's also just a great thing to drop on the board turn 3 that you will slowly get value out of. Now, I did try messing around with this deck a bit, removing the Bishop, the Sabretooth, and the Angela in favor of some more Devil Dinosaur synergies, such as the Collector, and Cable to help buff up the Collector even further. But what I noticed is this started leaning too heavily into the Devil Dinosaur package, and the strength of this deck is the fact that you don't rely on Devil Dinosaur. If you draw it, great, but if you don't, you have an alternate way to win by combining the effects of all of the other cards. With that, let's hop into some games. Our first location is Washington, D.C., which is going to benefit cards without abilities, and the Winter Soldier is actually one of those. We might want to try and get Bucky Barnes into there. We also have the Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur, which will be a pretty strong play. Angela is not going to be too great into Necrotia, and we're lacking our Destroy effects. Let's play Angela to the right, see if that pays off for us. It's a bit of a gamble. And we dodge the Mantis, which works out for us. And Hellfire Club is going to prevent 1-cost cards. What we can do here is go with the Sabertooth. Alright, and they go with a Cable, stealing one of our cards. The opponent snaps. Let's go with the Deathlock. This will give us 5 power in Necrotia, which, if they're playing a lot of small cards, will be hard for them to come up over. The free Sabertooths are going to combine really well with our Angela. They play Sentinel. So we can go with the Moon Girl and the Agent 13. Oh, Agent 13 can't be played to Hellfire Club. So let's go for Washington, D.C. Agent 13 will have 0 power in Necrotia. And this will fill our hand. We'll be able to play a large Devil Dinosaur and have a lot of flexibility. They go with a Collector, a Sentinel, and an Agent 13. And Agent 13 gives us another Devil Dinosaur, but we're only going to be able to play one of them. So we can play our Devil Dinosaur to Necrotia and put 10 extra power into the Hellfire Club. They likely have a Devil Dinosaur of their own. Which will be at 11, and ours will be at 9, but we have the 4 power from the Deathlock. Let's actually spread our power out. Make sure we're winning all 3 locations. That way, wherever they play, the Devil Dinosaur won't impact us. It's a little risky if they don't play the Devil Dinosaur, because they could come up over us in both of these locations. But it plays around Devil Dinosaur being, say, played to Hellfire Club if we invest 10 more power here. Okay, so they play a White Queen to Washington, D.C. and a Sentinel. So they didn't have the Devil Dinosaur, but our spread wins us Necrotia and Hellfire Club for 4 cubes. Let's hop into another one. First location is Jotunheim, so we're going to want to stay out of there for now. We have Bucky into Deathlock, which will be pretty strong in whatever location gets revealed here. Nidavellir is going to give us a pretty big power buff. Holding for Moon Girl will likely end up being too slow. So let's go with the Bucky and the Deathlock. And they go with an Angela. And Tinkerer's Workshop gives us 1 extra energy to work with, which lets us get the Nova down if we want. Yeah, let's go with the Nova Deathlock, get a pretty big Nidavellir lane. If we draw a Devil Dinosaur, we can copy that with the Moon Girl. Ooh, and we do get the Devil Dinosaur. So let's duplicate our hand. We'll also duplicate the Agent 13s, which will be great into the Nidavellir. Oh, and they also Moon Girl. We can play Devil Dinosaur to Nidavellir, and then on the following turn we can play the next one to Jotunheim. The collector's getting kinda big. Although we can win this with Agent 13 since we're already ahead. Where did they play their Devil Dinosaur? Let's try and spread our power since we're already so far ahead here. We'll take on the collector. So they end up slightly ahead of us here. So we're already winning Nidavellir by quite a lot. We can try spreading our power like this. Make sure we win the Tinkerer's Workshop with our extra Devil Dinosaur. Get a power into Jotunheim in case they choose not to play here. And if they invest too heavily in here, we'll just win the left and the right. Ooh, and so they go all out into Jotunheim, possibly assuming we'd either play our dinosaur here or here, but we end up going a different direction and taking the Tinkerer's Workshop. The double Novas are going to give their board quite a buff, but we were ahead by enough in Nidavellir thanks to just our Deathlock Bucky Barnes and our earlier Nova buff. And so we win the center and the right. That was a fantastic game. Let's hop into another one. First location is the sewer system. For now, we'll hold the Nova. We might even be able to duplicate it with the Moon Girl. Ooh, and Luke's bar is going to be hard to get into. I don't actually think we have a way to do that. For now, let's play Angela to the sewer system. Our opponent cables. Ooh, and Gamma Lab wants us to commit several cards. The best we can do is 2 and hope our opponent can only invest 1. And we'll gain 2 cards back in hand from this play. And so they do the same. So we'll have an even number of Hulks here. The Hazmat's not going to be too useful unless they get more cards on board than we do. The Moon Girl isn't going to help out too much, so let's shore up our sewer system with a bishop. And they play to Luke's bar, possibly to get on reveal effects. Ooh, they can Scarlet Witch it. Alright, our Devil Dinosaur is pretty big. The opponent snaps. They're feeling pretty good. But we can play our Devil Dinosaur. And they play theirs over to the sewer system. Can we do better than Chavez? Not without reducing our hand size immensely. If we Moon Girl Sentinel, this will add 3 plus 4 plus 2, which will be 9. So if they play a card, that will come up over their Devil Dinosaur, although they can play cards that add cards to their hand. They have as many cards as us, so the Hazmat doesn't really help. And if they just play, say, Chavez to Gamma Lab, we're gonna be in trouble. But let's play out 7 power there. They spread a bit. So White Queen and Sentinel. But we end up pushing 7 power into the Gamma Lab. And thanks to Moon Girl, we fill up our hand higher than the power they were able to put into Hellcub. And we win 4 cubes. Victory. I hope you enjoyed the games. Going forward, we're going to start exploring some Pool 3 content. We're going to get a couple of Pool 3 cards onto this account and see what we can build with them. And we'll eventually transition to my beta account. And from there, we'll build decks with maybe 1 or 2 Pool 3 cards and show how they can be used with the Pool 1 and Pool 2 collections to still build a competitive deck. As always, if you have any questions or feedback for me, make sure to leave those in the comment section below. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.